And thank you for checking in to the Heartbreak Hotel. My name is Ricky, the handler to Pretty Ricky Stanton, as you well know, the guy you love to hate on One Wrestle Movement. Be sure to check out One Wrestle Movement by following them on X at one_wrestle, one_wrestle as it sounds. Man, Love Hurts 5, Glory 44. We really need to talk about that, family. We really need to talk about this show that ran like a flipping pay-per-view. I'm not going to even lie to you. There was a lot going on Glory that I'm not saying that the brand doesn't get that all the time, but this hit different. And if you thought the same thing, then you just confirmed my suspicions that Glory packed a punch this time around. Glory 44 is what we're talking about. That's where we're going for the majority of this show. So for those who are just tuning in for the first time, usually I have some other commentary that I do when it comes to pro wrestling in general, writing in general, because I love to write. That's why we do this hobby we call efeding. And I also have some tips and tricks for those who are looking to better their writing, enhance the game, whatever you want to call it. I do a little bit of everything when it comes to writing tools online, and of course the latest craze, AI. But for now, this Glory show was something amazing. If you have not checked it out, you need to go to the One Wrestle Movement X page, the Twitter page, and click on the link to get there. And if you don't know it, onewrestlemovement.proboards.com, look for Glory 44, Love Hurts 5, and just get a cup of coffee and just read this chaos. I didn't know what to think about it. I was sitting there in a meeting, and so I was going through it, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So yeah, we're going there today. That's the plan. That's what we're trying to do. And I really do hope you've had a fantastic day. I hope that if you're in the snowy areas of the country, please be safe. Here in Pennsylvania, it's about 9 degrees. Madness. But I'm inside. I do have my home office where I do the majority of my work at. And I'm looking outside. It's snowing again here. And it's great because I can breathe. I'm not going to even lie to you. If it can just get above 30 degrees, I'll be fine. But 9, that's a bit excessive. Mother Nature's asking a lot. But yeah, we really need to talk about this show. First of all, who in the hell told Jace Parker Davidson that he was the main eventer? Can somebody answer that question for me? Let's talk about Jace Parker Davidson, JPD. Let's talk about this character that literally manifests out of nowhere from the bars of the Velvet Rabbit to being a main eventer in One Wrestle in a very short period of time. Let's talk about a character that just pushes his way into a conversation between two individuals trying to resolve a dispute that lasted at least 2 years. It had to be at least 2 years. I cannot recall something so personal, something so serious as the feud between Ricky Stanton and your girl Q. And then you get this X Factor involved. Jace Parker Davidson. And he turns the whole thing into what could have been a very serious, emotional World Heavyweight Championship match into the everyday on Friday nights 3-way dance for the title. Completely removes the emotion, completely removes the human connectivity to it, and creates a whole new conversation. Who in the hell told JPD that he was a main eventer? That's all I want to know. This guy had some really good nachos that morning, obviously. He may have had some good Doritos. I have no idea. But either way, he is able to springboard from a match that he did not win and cut, in my opinion, what could be his best promo ever. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know the handler writes a lot of RPs that we know. We've read a lot of the RPs, but this right here, this promo for not even being in the main event on this show, to start the show off with this level of character, this level of depth. I mean, when he said that the tiebreaker championship was more over than the One Wrestle, I felt that. I felt that. I felt that all the way in my soul. I said, oh, damn. You know, I mean, when he said that they was basically more over than the One Wrestle world title, it was like it punched. I mean, that if Q does not respond or do something in Legendary, it's a missed opportunity. That's just what it is. You know, but JPD, you put your foot into this promo, and that is what we talk about. Character development. You're no longer the guy trying to be a part of the conversation. You are a part of the conversation, and the development in such a short period of time has been interesting. I mean, when you think about how you got there and how the character has been where it's been, I mean, it's explained beautifully in this promo. So yes, it was a major deal to read that. And like, wow, you know, this thing is got some legs to it. And then we move into, of course, Ricky Stanton, who completely dismisses the fact that JPD was out there any at all. He has yet to explain or talk about the match. He has yet to address anybody about the match. That will change shortly, though. That will indeed change. And he just goes right into him, and that it was the goal for my character, was to pretty much still live in this level of, you know what, I didn't get the title, but I did win the GFL Cup, the Gladiatrix Football League. The DC Red Wolves, run by my character Ricky Stanton, won the GFL Cup this year. Completely unexpected, completely surprising, amazing, and yeah, it added such power to the character already. And so he takes the first several moments of One Wrestle and celebrates and has a great time until, lo and behold, the Rooster, Rex Rourke, comes out of nowhere with this funny line about he heard that One Wrestle needed some cock. And that's that can take, you know, it's a little risque, you know. But someone like Rex Rourke, I mean, that could be a great character development piece, a great elevation into something funny, something that can bring some color to One Wrestle. So we'll see where that goes. But none, you know, they have this grand celebration. You know, of course, the cake come down, and you know, and we realize there's some red feathers, kind of like his signature, because you know, Rooster, Rex Rourke, and you know, they play that, and I thought that was great. I thought that was really, really good. It did not take a lot to get the effect that it needed for Rex, and so this kind of moves Rex into not a tweener but more of a true face, you know. So as we see this character develop, we're going to see a person that is anti-establishment, probably anti-system, looking to make his own way, and has some history. We know that if you go back and look at some of the previous work, he was more of a sacrificial lamb to be taken on, for, you know, challenging for the tiebreaker and everything. So there's some material there to work with if it's done at the right situation. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But you know, Ricky Stanton's going to be Ricky Stanton, celebrating, of course, angry at what happened. Here's this peon, not even really on the roster at any given time, that broke up the party, and we know that will not go without response. And then we get to this backstage segment with Lila, and it was like, what the hell's going on here? You know, what, she's in a trash can, and she's throwing chicken nuggets, and people are walking by wondering what the hell's going on, just like I was. And then she falls out of the trash can. the cupcakes, they're gone. And I'm like, okay, well, what's up with that? It's, I was sitting there trying to register what was about to happen. Now, she had my attention. She was in a trash can, and she fell out the trash can, and people are looking at her, and uh, the werewolf walks by, and then, it was some kind of random thoughts about Kirk Cameron, and, this character's just nutso. There's no way to really put it. It was a very interesting segment because it did keep it did keep your attention. There was a lot of randomness in there. And then talking about Kurt and who else? I'm going through it right now, because I had read it earlier, just kind of let it all resonate in my brain. And then she goes on talking about wanting to get sprinkles in Mystique's hair, and I'm like, okay, that's a little wild. And then we get Savannah Andrews. She's talking, and that was a pretty much a really solid intro to a match. That was a good, solid promo. I don't think anybody can take that away from her. And so I felt like that was definitely really, really cool. And so then we have Savannah Andrews versus Brittany Monroe. Solid match. Definitely a solid match. Good debut match for both of them. Definitely showed some great talent there. Think they both will be going a lot of places here in One Wrestle. And it really depends on what that second match is going to be. And so that was a very good match. Really enjoyed that. Then the cameras cut to Kitty Evermore, another person that hate to keep using the word, but it was unhinged. It was this person's in their own little world. And it kind of let me know already where this show was going. The new faces are doing their thing, and that's what you kind of have to do. You have to do your thing on this. You got to show something different to get the attention. And Kitty Evermore definitely did that in her backstage seg, which led into the match between Lila Lovejoy and Curtis King. This was very unexpected. I'll say that. Because the first thing I'm looking at anytime there's an intergender match, I know we have a very liberal efed community, and that's fine. I have no problems with that. But I also respect those who keep the gender lines separate in their promotions. That's fine too. We can have both people. Just grow the hell up. You can have both. Your opinion is not your fact. Okay, so that's fine. I've never been in one, but it's fine. So you see here that here's a match between a very humongous guy and a very small lady, and I'm just going by those genders. Okay, so don't get triggered if that's not the case. Don't get triggered. I'm trying to tell a story here. Okay, just run with me. So she's sitting there, and she's facing. It's like a David and Goliath type of thing going on here. But it's not David and Goliath, And then for whatever reason, Kitty, she's in this. It is a lot going on for poor Curtis. To describe this match, it's like watching a man fight off two raccoons. That's the only way I can describe it. It was just something different going on here. And so I'm looking for the space now where she was biting the forehead of King, and then it's just a lot of stuff. Kitty Evermore was in this, and then at one point, one was on top of the other one's shoulder to match the height difference, and I was like, okay, this is out of pocket. What the hell's going? What is this? And then she wins. That's the part that should be out. Then she wins. And so there's a story here that needs to be told. I mean, honestly, Kenny and Lila really should be their own tag team. I mean, I know they're going individual types of runs and all that jazz. Y'all need to get on Epic and be a tag team. That's what y'all need to do because this was entertaining as hell. So I feel sorry for Curtis. I really do. But it really just caught me off guard that and then she's throwing cupcakes and the whole thing is just madness. So and in the end, she's bit him up. She's bit him on the head, bit him on the thigh, I believe, and all that. And then there's food involved, and Kitty is down here. It's like you ran up on two raccoons and a trash can, and they're giving you the two-piece biscuit. It was this wildness. And so then we go backstage, and then we see William Ryder, the Tiebreaker Championship, a very interesting run. This is one that has been different from the Broken Bride arc completely. This has been a total different type of story being told by William Ryder, and I have not had a lot of input in on this. I've kind of been just watching how he carries a title, watching how he tells the story of his run with the Tiebreaker Championship. The Broken Bride arc, I did a lot more writing in that than I'm doing with William because I believe William is a good writer and I do trust his judgment, and I'm sure he's been doing justice to the Tiebreaker, matching the personality of William Ryder to the deception and temptation of the Tiebreaker. So I'm just letting it run. But the Broken Bride arc actually I was a fan of doing that. So that's why I was like, you know what? I want to do some writing on this because there's a certain way I want this presented. And I really believe that that Brianna can capitalize from this. And for a short period of time, she did, until, things changed and she had left and now she's back. So you never know. You never know. You might be able to get a chance to run that back, but we'll see. We'll see where the writing carries us, and always trust where the writing is carrying your story. And then we get Misery versus Braddock versus Chris Crippler. Out of this one, in my opinion, Braddock had the best payoff because they had Braddock had gone from this real high from VDOP to almost getting lost in the shuffle, in my opinion. And this kind of gives him the space now to get back some momentum. Chris Crippler and Misery also paid off, but I think out of the three, Braddock had the biggest payoff of this. And so that's good. And even the way he looked back at them, it was a very passive win for Braddock. It was one of, yeah, I can still do this. I don't care what anybody thinks. So I thought that was good. And then we get Amy Santino and Trixie Deckler. Good mix-up, good development there. That was a good one. It didn't have to be long for the effect, so that was cool. And so that was something that I believe will lead definitely to a very good match down the road. If you don't have a match, you got to keep telling the story. And this segment here with Amy and Trixie does that. So I'm looking forward to hearing, we're reading more about what's going on with that match. And then we move on to the person of the hour, Bia. I mean, when you think about what happened with Samson, when you think about Q, when you think about what he did to Bia, and the one thing about the whole Bia situation, for those who didn't watch Massive, go back and check that out on the One Wrestle Pro boards. Samson had been kinda, in a way, getting ahead of himself, and it's kind of what really was beginning to happen. Joshua Samson was slowly becoming the manager that we all knew he was. This person that will do anything to keep that belt on his people. But the problem with that, though, is everybody didn't really agree with the methodology. Let's face it, Samson tried to be Stanton. But the difference is the character of Stanton puts people around him that will do what he does. And they're not acting autonomously from Stanton. So when Samson comes about and he gets in that ring and he's trying to pretty much change the scope of things, and he gets in Bia's face and he does that, he slaps Bia, if I recall right, and she nails him, as she should have. I think it's a great emotional part there where you see someone who has taken crap off of a person and then you're just waiting for that person to get nailed. I mean, Samson has been talking that trash forever about how he can't be touched, and you can't touch me, and and you eventually you want somebody to touch him, you want somebody to put hands on him, and Bia became the person to do that. I always thought the writing would lead to Stanton doing that, but Stanton had a lot to lose in doing something like that. So having someone from inside his camp do it made it very poetic, in my opinion. And so when he does that and she responds the way she does, that puts her on a different course, this very rough type of face that really is not looking for the heroic welcome. She's looking for justice. It has nothing to do with the fans cheering or booing. She's looking for that justice and got the justice. So she comes out here to kind of clear the air between what it was about. What happened between her and Samson was about her and Samson. Had nothing to do with Q. And that's pretty much the gist of her promo. And she's going through it. And the one thing about her promo that I definitely want to give props to the handler Bia for is I could hear her voice in my head. I could hear the accent that she was attempting to portray. I could hear it. And I could definitely, it gave a different texture to the promo completely when she did the accent. I thought that was very unique. I thought it separated Bia's portion of Glory from everything else on Glory. While, again, doesn't have a match on Glory, but it really gave her character this 1 degree of separation to really have you dial in on what she was saying. So yeah, kudos to Bia's handler. I thought that was really, really good. And then we finally get to the tiebreaker championship match. Reigns versus the American Werewolf, William Ryder. Reigns, of course, always comes off as a seasoned veteran who's been around the way. He wrestles like a veteran. He talks like a veteran. He portrays himself as a veteran. He sounds like someone that came from 90s wrestling, and he's still wrestling to this day. And he's been around. He's seen it all. He's done it all. And he has more experience than everybody else, but it's not in a cocky way. It's very much more in the character itself. The way he talks, the way he walks, the way he moves is very much this is experience on a whole different level. And he's facing against American Werewolf, William Ryder, who, as we know, is slowly diving deep into despair and chaos inside of his mind, because we really don't know at any given time who's doing what. Is it the Tidebreaker, the essence of the Tidebreaker? Because if you keep up with the story and the lore of the Tidebreaker, the demon has been sealed up, but just the essence of the belt, just the fact that demon's inside that belt and can't get out, his spirit, his essence is just seeping out of that belt, invisibly leaking out of that belt onto anybody who dares to carry it. And that's happening to William Ryder. And so again, a very good match, a good back and forth, ended with William winning the match. And then at the end, you see this situation where he mumbles to himself and glares down at Reigns before laughing, scoffing at him, so it's almost like that gives you an idea that Reigns was not facing William Ryder the entire match. He was facing whatever has come out of William Ryder at this point. So that I thought that was just a nice little touch there to give you a hint of who you're dealing with. Now, that moves the backstage where we see Douglas Crane, the Glory Champion. He's facing off against Brianna Matthews. Now, he brings up a very good point with the character of Brianna Matthews. Brianna Matthews has moved in a few lanes. 1 minute, she has the confidence. The next minute, she does not have the confidence. 1 minute, she is indeed the Phoenix. The next minute, not so much. It just depends on what's going on at that time for Brianna. And this is where I had hoped that the tiebreaker would elevate her to this other place where she could make the decision to be the person she knows she can be. But the character somewhat reverted back to just being the girl next door, the wrestler next door. So that's not a bad thing. It's just that it's more of a, okay, well, where does Brianna go after everything she's been through with Stanton, after everything she's been through with the tiebreaker? Where should she be at? And she's been right here in the Glory Championship. Now, a lot of folks speculate that this is according to the terms and conditions of their divorce, that she had to get at least one championship match, and that was the Glory Championship. That is confirmed nor denied for the sake of the writing itself. But nonetheless, though, here she is in the Glory Championship versus Douglas Crane. Crane's coming off, and he's calling her number. He's letting me know, I know what you are, I know who you are, and I'm going to stomp you out of existence. And so what we see here, though, is pretty good. You see that there is some depth to Brianna when it comes to her being the former Glory Champion, to her being this person that dealt with Stanton and understanding his ways, and but it just wasn't enough to finish up against Douglas Crane. And so he wins, and then out of nowhere, Jacob Stryker comes down to the ring and hits him hard, and he goes down. And so, of course, Jacob Stryker believes he's a pillar, and that got called out beautifully, if I may say. And so then Stryker, he's talking smack over him, and and then he looks down at Crane again. Remember your place, trash weasel, and never assume that you're on my effing level again, because if you try to, but there's someone, though, that attacked Douglas Crane from behind. So of course you can say that stuff. Of course you can do that stuff. So I thought for Stryker, this was a good show for him to as well to create a lane for the character of Jacob Stryker. As we know, Stryker's been around for a minute. It's always been a character that's kind of been around, but never really having a breakout area. I know at Stanton Enterprises, that story didn't go where I'd hoped it would go, and a lot of that's on me, but it's something that I think is good for him to do, to kind of step out and really be aggressive. We see it working for JPD. We see it working for a few people. But remember, when you get your character to step out, when you're going to do this aggressiveness, make sure it's well defined, make sure it makes sense, and make sure it's going to make sense to the reader as well. And I do believe that all, it carries here. So that's cool. But yeah, I just had to talk about Glory, because it ran like a pay-per-view, and it wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a very emotional, hard show. The writing was great. The matches were great. Out of all the matches, in my opinion, I have to say the Lilo match with Curtis was a highlight, especially when her and Kitty kind of did their little part in there, and I thought that was funny. I thought JPD's promo probably was the promo of the night. That's just my opinion. Don't get offended. Everybody did a great job, but I felt like that really stuck out, because you have to justify why this guy is in this match, and he has to justify the character to be there. What is this? Who is this guy, and why is he in the main event conversation? I think Glory kind of summed that up for us and kind of sealed that answer, and now that character can move forward with the journey to be champion, if he can. So, that's what I thought about Glory. I do not have any writing notes this time around. It's just been a little busy, but maybe next week we can focus on writing tools, AI prompts. I know many of you have been asking about that. Oh yeah, and before I forget, Mud Mayhem Wrestling. Mud Mayhem Wrestling. It is on. We are up and going. The story starts in France because One Wrestle's in France right now. So Stanton's in France, which means he's going to promote the company there first. And before we have our first major card, please sign up. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. I am actually writing. I'm doing some writing, and I'm doing some arrangement here to make these matches good, make them fun. You won't be doing everything you would do in a normal wrestling ring, so expect the movesets to be a little different. Expect not to have that many movesets. Remember, it's mud. There's only but so much you can do in mud, so that's why the contract's written the way it's written. Please, by all means, sign up. If you don't want your main character involved in Mud Mayhem and you got an NPC, sign them up. You never know what happens. It might go great. But yeah, it's something that I wanted to do. I think it'll be funny, and we're not doing AI generated results here, so I'll be doing some writing involved and doing the creativity and working the angles and pushes and doing, I'm going to work on a lot of the booking. So I do have some people helping me who will remain nameless, but yeah, it should be really, really good. I think we're going to have a good time with this, and I want you to get involved. There will be title belts. I will be releasing images of those probably later on tomorrow. I got some work I gotta do later on this afternoon, but we'll be working on that and getting some belts out there and going over what the show is going to look like moving ahead. So it should be a good year for that. And of course, if you have any questions, any feedback, any topics you want to go over writing wise, efed wise, things that might have just get you go, DM me, PRS_too pretty for you, PRS_too pretty for you. Until next time, y'all, stay blessed, stay safe out there in that snow. Have hope. Everything is working the way it's supposed to work in your favor. You just got to motivate yourself. You got to be positive. You got to work on your mental health. Don't let the things of the world wreck your mental health. These folks don't know you, and if something happens to you, they will not even know that you left this earth. So let's be real with ourselves and focus on ourselves for the betterment of our families, for our community, and for hopefully the world around us. You take care. Stay pretty.